All right, Patrick Ebert here at the Hitters Academy. I have my next two guests with me here. If they could please introduce themselves.
Michael Lippe. I go to Whitefish Bay High School. It's right by Milwaukee, and I play center field or outfield.
My name is Hayden Christensen. I go to Richmond Burton High School in Illinois. I'm a catcher, utility.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. Mike, I want to start with you just because I've been watching you play a long time. Been watching you both play several years now. And I think, you're both 8 and 9 years, so you're among like the longer tenured players here with the Hitters Club. So being from Whitefish Bay, you've played with a lot of guys that have been in this Hitters program, like currently, in the past, and even coming up. You know, obviously the connection to Craig Council and all that brings. But what are some of your biggest takeaways being with the program? Because you've also experienced, you both have also experienced like national level competition. So you're able to kind of evaluate yourselves by watching your peers.
Yeah, for sure. So honestly, I feel like Hitters in general has prepared me the most for the next step, whether that's pro baseball or if that's college baseball. RJ pushes us mentally and physically every day. He tries to bring out the best in us. And I mean, ever since I was 10 years old, and it was at the old facility before we had like this nice field and everything, it was just, he just pushed me, and he made me the player and even the man off the field that I am today, which is something I can I can always just thank him for. So yeah.
That's great. Hayden, how about you?
You know, we have a lot of great teammates here. We have a lot of guys that want to play for us. You know, I think that the huge thing with Hitters is the camaraderie between everybody. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we have two different teams, but every single time we play together, it feels like we have one. Everybody's so close. I mean, we all push each other, like Lippe said, all the time on and off the field to be the best player and the best person possible. And it just means a lot to, have that kind of connection with our teammates.
You talk a little bit, talk about the camaraderie. Obviously lost Big Roe Coleman the past year, so that was a big blow to the program. Can you each share maybe an experience that you had with Roe that impacted your life?
I would say the most impactful, I actually have two, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please do, yes.
The first one was when I was a freshman, and we weren't doing that well, and he called me and some other teammates into his room, and that's the first time I actually had a really serious conversation with him about not only the team but about just our baseball career in general. And the second one I would say is during my sophomore year when I wasn't playing due to an injury, that he called me and he checked up on me pretty much every other week, and it was just something really special because I created such a good bond with him, and he still means something to me today, and I know he's just always with me.
You're going to always carry that with you, too. That's great. Great. Hayden?
Yeah, I have a lot of memories with Roe. Helped me through a lot of things mentally, I'd say. One of the biggest things for sure was we were at Nash Park, playing down there, and, you have so many things going on. I struggled in the box a little bit, and you can tell I was a little uptight, so he comes running after me and my parents in the parking lot, yelling, he's like, all right, one thing that you guys gotta make sure that you learn is just that you need to be a motherfucker on the field. You know what I mean? He's like, you gotta play with an attitude that you just gotta beat everyone else. You know what I mean? So that's something that every single time I step on the field, I try to be, I try to be that guy that's pushing on myself and playing as hard as possible as a beast mode.
Yeah, because you do have to have a different persona on the field, right?
Right.
So you both haven't had that national level of competition. Do you have a favorite moment or memory, maybe in a tournament? I know what was it, the Wilson Premier a few years ago, you guys won the freshman, the second year, the underclass, I think you were in the championship game. But it's interesting, no one's mentioned that yet. There have been other events, like in Georgia or even here close to home that was mentioned. I'm just curious what the two of you think.
Honestly, I feel like Wilson Premier was definitely my favorite tourney because going into pool play, we tied to a team that we should have easily destroyed, but it's baseball. Stuff happens. And we were ranked 14th seed. And a lot of people, you could tell that everyone thought that we were just going to get out and we're just going to give up, but we turned it around and we won it all. And we beat the Canes team where everyone, everyone thinks that they're always on top, but because they're the Canes and they recruit from all over the nation. But a team that has more willing and have more brothers that play with each other and just grind it out through the whole entire winter season. And because I know and no one is doing the workouts we do on Sundays, especially during the winter and sled miss and stuff. And that's why I just feel like that's the edge that we had on all these teams. No matter who they were, we didn't care. We just were gonna go out there and beat them.
Yeah. For you, Hayden, what's your favorite?
I'd say my favorite tournament would be the USA Baseball National Championship in North Carolina.
Okay.
We had a very, very tough bracket. You know what I mean? We playing against East Cobb Astros, Canes National. You know, we had all these teams from around the world or around the country that you've heard about. I mean, a big, like, Perfect Game, Baseball Report, always talking about them. Best pitchers. We faced Dylan Lesko, you know, and so I'd say that was my favorite tournament just because that we faced the best competition I've ever seen. I mean, haven't seen many guys throwing 90 at that time, and everyone's just chucking 94, 95. And so on the field, you know, you got just the best possible defense playing against you. And so I'd say that was my favorite tournament for sure.
Both events, you both had the opportunity to show that, you know, you can more than just hang with those guys. You can beat them, right?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of that happens from these Sundays or Saturdays or whatever it is where you're building these moments, getting better as players, right?
Okay.
Of course.
I want to talk a little Hayden. I saw recently on social media. Also, got to give props for RJ for all the information he shares, you know, just on Twitter. But like as a catcher, like you're continue to get better. You know, you're so good back there as it is. Is there anything specifically you're working on? And just talk about that pride you take in your position.
All right, so the one thing that I'd say I'm working on is always trying to have accurate throws around the bags. That's one thing that I've always had a little bit of struggling with. And so the one thing that I'd value over velocity, whether it's in the field, whether you're pitching or anything, it's always making sure that you have that accuracy. If you have a 1.9, 2 flat pop time where your velo 78, 80, but you can put it on the dot every single time, I'd value that over anything else. And so that's the one thing that I strive to be a perfectionist on.
Okay.
Sure.
Mike, I want to ask you about your injury that you sustained.
Yes, sir. So basically what happened was it was during quarantine. COVID year happened. Wasn't the smartest with like how I was training because, you know, I had a lot of free time.
Sure.
First scrimmage of the year, I fractured my L4 vertebrae, and then I also had some other medical internal stuff that took me off the field for a much longer time than it should have. And, you know, it was a lot of like stress, a lot of pain, you know, a lot of everything. And I honestly feel like that it made me tougher, you know, it made me have a more of a person. Like when I got on the field, I know I needed to prove something because, you know, I was trying to play catch up last year to people that had a whole extra year on me. And especially going to all like the events like the PDP and area code, I knew like this was my time to shine and I needed to show who I really am and show that this injury didn't faze me and whatever happened, it happened. It's in the past of me and it just made me into a better man that I am today.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. It's good to see you back on the field too. So one of the last questions I have is at the Midwest Premiere up in the Dells last summer. You went to that championship game, and from my perspective, I was covering that event. Like you guys were the best team there. Championship game, you were down 5-1 going into the later innings, and then you guys had an inning where I think you started with an RBI single. You had like a 2-run double or something, and Sam had a 2-run single that put you ahead. But you guys never panicked, and I brought this up with Sam too, and it was like interesting. It was almost like part of the process where you didn't forget who you were, what you've been taught all these years. And I think about that because going to Louisville, going to Xavier, it's going to be very similar moving forward. You have to have that discipline, and I just want to get both your reactions to that. If you remember that moment, and if that is part of the plan and the process when you did eventually come out on top.
You know, I actually do remember that moment, and it was a very cool moment, not only because we did come back, but also because who we played with. We also played with Noah Miller and Joey Spence, which was something cool to like learn how they play and like how they react to things. But honestly, like throughout the whole entire game, like we were missing our pitches. You know, we were still swinging at them. We were still making some hard contact here and there, but you know, again, sometimes it just comes down to it's baseball. You know, you're gonna fail more than you succeed. So we knew RJ told us that just like relax, like it'll come because like we were doing everything that we could do right. It was just we just needed to let the game pick up its pace and let our game override their game. And honestly, I'm really glad that we just kept it cool, you know, and just kept it as chill as possible for us because we didn't get in our heads. No one got in their heads. Everyone just trusted each other, knew that just to get the next man up and that the dude behind me and the dude in front of me are going to get their job done.
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Hayden, what's your memory of that?
Oh my God. I'd say the one thing that we train here at Hitters is for those pressure moments. We always train to be in that spot, to be the guy that wants to be in that spot to make a big difference for the game. And so I think that with what we do over the off season, like right now, I'd say that we're always prepared for the big moment. The big moment when there's 2 outs, bottom of the 7th or bottom of the 9th inning, you got bases loaded, full count, right? Everybody here wants to be in that position. That's what we train for. And there's a lot of teams around here that would be scared in that moment. I think we're prepared for that. Every single kid on our team wants to be in that moment, and that's what prevailed in that game.
Yeah, it's fun. Just to finish. Came up big in those moments. How good does that feel? Is that kind of like the pinnacle of baseball? Those moments.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. Especially just knowing that you train so hard and then you come up big and you know going into you're supposed to do and you do it. It's the best feeling in the world.
Exactly, and you got to know that it's not gonna be the last moment you'll ever be playing, and so there'll be other moments like it. So
yeah,
you always have another shot.
And you get to drive home happy. So that's
exactly
good.
right.
Yeah, cool.